Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Class 13 of the Obsession Beast Parent Education Level 1 course. We're getting close to the end, guys. We're just got to keep grinding it out. We're almost there. This one, you're supposed to have your child with you. So did you bring your child to class today? This is what the whole point of this course or this class is with class number 13 is bringing your child to class, and more along the lines of like having and letting them kind of give their opinion on why they play football, which we'll bring up here shortly. Okay, so I don't expect it to be too long. I'm going to try and keep it short, especially with your child here. But you need to ask your child, why does your child play football? Why does he play? And you're going to get a variety of answers. And a lot of them are probably going to be something along the following. So please, they could listen to this and then they can answer directly. Or you could ask them the question, why does your child play? And you're going to get a lot of answers, but a lot of them will be something like this. It's fun to play with friends. I like to score goals. I like to celebrate because it's fun. I love the game. And where I'm going with this is why they play. They play because if you look at the majority of it, it's fun. I love the game. I like to celebrate. I like to score goals. All that is fun. They need to have fun. So if we as adults, coaches and parents take fun away, the child will eventually quit playing the game, which I'm going to get to in a moment. And I'll give you a great example of this. If you notice that your child, after they make a mistake, they go like this, and they look at you, that means they know that you're on top of them for errors that they make. Remember, errors are a part of the game. You have to allow your child to make mistakes. Otherwise, it will no longer be fun. And if you're critiquing them all the time because of their mistakes, at some point, I promise you, they will quit. Okay? And the realities are, kids will quit playing at an exponential rate, or kids are quitting playing because the game is no longer fun. Here's some proof. This is an article that I took. It's from, I believe, the Washington Post. So it's supported by the National Alliance for Youth Sports. And around 70% of kids in the United States stop playing organized sports by the age of 13 because it's just not fun anymore. And it's not necessarily that it's not fun anymore, because we as adults make it not fun for kids. Putting pressure on them, joysticking them, telling them what to do, being aggressive to them. It's their game. It's not our game as the adults. Let your kids play. Okay, so make sure you do that, please. Now, with your child sitting next to you, please ask them this. What is their favorite celebration? And you're probably going to get ones like Ronaldo, where he goes, shoo, right? He loves that. And it's become a phenomenon. Like, kids are doing it all over the country doing that. Or maybe the Messi celebration where they go like this. Or the Mbappe where he goes like this. Right, there's a bunch of different celebrations that players mimic because it's fun to watch their favorite players do it and then to bring that to their own environment. And like, I'm going to give you a personal example now. So I was at a game with my 2014s and we were winning, I think, the game 4-0. And we have a thing on the team where when the team scores, all the players go to the corner flag and they do a celebration. They all have the same celebration. We made it as a group, right? So it's specific to our team. And the opponent, after watching us score 4 goals, they scored a goal to make it 4-1, and 2 of their players went to go do the same thing, to go celebrate. I don't know about the same exact celebration, but they went to go to the corner flag to go celebrate. And the parents of their team were screaming, "Do not celebrate, get back, get back." And I'm like, okay, I understand you're losing the game, you want to try and win. Cool. But again, you're taking away the experience from the kids who want to go enjoy because they scored a goal. They saw the other team go celebrate, and they score a goal now, and you're telling them they can't go replicate a celebration that they see on TV and they saw their opponent doing. Like, I understand because you're losing, but it's like, they're kids. They're literally 9 years old, maybe 10. This is why they play. And that just showed me at that moment that it was about the parents' ego because they were losing versus the enjoyment and the smile on their kids' faces for scoring a goal. And I don't want that to continue to happen. And I did talk about this previously, but I'll quickly re-explain it. And you guys know I've talked about Roberto Carlos. I was lucky enough to have his nephew in my program for 3 years. I helped develop him to have a very good level of skill for his age group. And he came out to a tournament once. It was actually a futsal tournament to watch his nephew and his daughter play. And he was actually on our team bench watching his nephew play. So he's basically sitting next to me. watching his nephew play, and if anybody would have the right to stop the game, not even stop the game, but to speak to the kids, I would shut my mouth and let Roberto Carlos speak. I mean, this is a guy that has won the World Cup. And the way that he behaved on the sideline was like this. That's it. He didn't do anything else. He didn't tell anything to anybody. He just sat there smiling, waving, basically. And that was pretty much it. And then having his side conversations with the people he was sitting with. But other than that, that was it. He's not going out there doing much else. So hopefully what you took from that, you're probably going to figure out what my advice would be when you're watching your child's game. And that would be to just be on the sideline, relaxed. Let your kid play the game, win or lose. Because he actually watched 2 games. One of them, the kid lost, and the other one, the kid won. In both scenarios, he didn't open his mouth once. He just let them play. So people need to understand that it's the child's game. And when you as parents put pressure on your kids, it's going to create a much tougher relationship between the two of you. So it'll separate you versus bring you together. And then on the other side, it might also lead to them quitting in the future with a high probability. Not possibility, probability. So please don't do that, especially if you don't have the experience of getting to a high level, then you don't have the right to do so. So some recommendations that I have: find a spot when you're on the sideline away from all the other parents. Usually this is going to be like a corner flag, or just sit 10 to 15 yards away. Grab a drink and a snack. If you can, put your feet up like it's a lounge chair. Get comfortable. Put some sunglasses on, and I think this is important because that way your child can't notice that you're looking at them. Smile, wave, and clap. But the most important thing is to let your child play the game. And also, don't talk about other people's kids. Just don't do that. That is such a bad look when you have a parent and they start talking about other kids and not their kid. Please just talk about your child. And take this to note, very important. If you make the game like a job for a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old or 11-year-old, they will quit sooner rather than later. Because if you have to force them, that means they're not making the decision to do that. Mom and dad are saying, you need to go do this. Well, forcing them will lead to resentment and will lead to wanting to quit and eventually quitting, which is what you don't want. So it's very important that you find a coach who cares and will make the training fun for your player. If it's not fun, they will quit as well. I mean, that's very important. The kids need to have fun. It needs to be challenging, and it needs to match their level. Okay? And like I said earlier, does your child do this? When they make a mistake. So does your child do this? When they make a mistake, do they look directly at you like this? And they're just checking to see if you noticed the mistake that they made. If they made the mistake and you noticed and they're doing that, that means they know that you're going to rip them later. My advice, refrain from that ASAP. This is very, very bad news. So again, when your child makes a mistake and immediately after the mistake they do this and they're no longer concerned about playing, that's because they know that you're going to rip them if you saw them making that mistake. So you need to change your perspective, in my opinion, ASAP, or I would if I were you. Because it's bad, bad news. Now, this is actually a note from my dad, and he was a coach a couple years ago, and he actually said this to his parents because a lot of his parents were joysticking from the sideline, which is basically what I'm talking about. And he said, if you want your child coming to you, I want to say this again because I want it to be very clear. So let me try and build like the ambience for this. This is a note from my dad. He was a coach a couple of years ago. He actually said this at a team meeting because he had parents that would joystick a lot. And he said, if you want your child coming to you for the rest of their life, keep solving all of their problems and not letting them figure shit out on their own. So if you're constantly figuring out their issues, so anytime they have a problem, you solve it, they are no longer, or I should say they'll constantly come to you for the rest of their life to solve their problems. If you want to develop people that are independent, then I recommend you follow my dad's advice because that was fantastic. Now, here are my recommendations for the following. I told you I was going to try and keep this shorter because I don't want to take up too much of your child's time. But here are my recommendations for Class 13. Why does your child play football? And the first one is make sure it is your child asking to play and you are not forcing them. So if you have to say, for example, Johnny, you need to go outside and practice, that means you're trying to force him. You can always reframe that question and say, hey, Johnny, what time is it? And then they go look for the time and they go, oh my God, I need to get ready for practice. And then you're putting it on them to reposition themselves to get ready. And then they have to take ownership. Okay? But if you have to say, Johnny, it's 5:55, we need to go to practice, that means you're forcing them and not letting them figure it out. You could also help them build a schedule so they can try and be more independent to track their time and manage their time. Make sure to let your child celebrate their moments. When they have success, like scoring a goal, let them celebrate, because I don't know if you know this, there's way more negative moments in the game than there are positive. So when they get those positive moments, they love to use that as fuel to reignite their passion. Remember my advice about Roberto Carlos and how he behaved? When it comes game time and you're on the sideline, find a seat, get comfortable, smile, wave, and clap, and put on those sunglasses, man. You need to remember why your kid plays. It's because they want to have fun. And last point is, remember, whose dream is it? Yours or your child's? If it's your child, let them initiate. That's my advice. Those are my recommendations for this class. Without further ado, guys, we'll see you in class 14, and we'll keep rolling. See you there.